if somebody comes to me and they say, I've got this horse who bites and who physically attacks people, and I get them quite a bit, where horses are very dangerous. Anybody that comes around them, they're automatically putting themselves in danger. And if I look over and I see that that horse has several cervical vertebrae out of whack, I know immediately that that horse is in discomfort. He's ill-tempered because he doesn't feel good. Now then, before I insist that we go through this herd dynamic situation, I'll see whether or not I can work with him without putting him through this, because I want to resolve the physical problems that I discover first. If he's got an obvious leg injury, if he's obviously in pain, I don't try to get into the mind first unless I have no other choice. The first thing that I want to do is resolve any physical issues that that horse may have. Once I resolve the physical issues, then I attempt to get into the mind. And I do that by using a procedure called the bonder, or in general, herd dynamics. Herd dynamic actions will work regardless of the size of the enclosure that you're doing it in. You can do these actions in a 100-acre field. You can do them in a 10-mile field. You can do them in a 10-foot stall. It is not the size of the enclosure that is important. It is the actions and the actions alone. One of the things that I do recommend using for implementing herd dynamics, the herd dynamics procedure, is a round pen. And I say that a round pen works best because it has no corners. You can get the horse going around. You can control the horse. You can keep that horse far enough away from you to where it cannot catch up to you. It cannot kick you, it cannot bite you, it cannot whatever. Yet you can keep it close enough to where you can direct the situation. So I always tell people, use a round pen. I'll run around here a couple of times to see. I'm not real keen about how these things work on this thing, but darken it up a little bit. All right. I say use a round pen because that allows you to stand in the center. It allows you to keep the horse far enough away to where it can't kick you, it can't bite you, yet close enough to where you can control its actions. Now then, people say to me, how do you keep it far enough away to where it can't bite you and can't kick you, can't do whatever, and get a hold of you? Very easy. I tell that horse, by my actions, until you show me the respect that I want, if you get anywhere near me, if you come anywhere near me, we are going to have a terrible fight. One of us is going to get hurt, and I'm going to do everything to make sure that it's not me. Remember when I was telling you about how they have the horse here that's eating grain? The other one comes up and says, I want this grain. This one says, yeah, you can have the grain after you go through me to get it. And that's basically what I tell this horse right here. And I carry a lunge whip, or I carry something that allows me to reach out there a pretty good distance. When I first started teaching this and working with people, I would tell them, you don't need anything, you just get in there. Because I did for years and years, and a lot of horses. I would get in there and I'd make the horse do what I wanted it to do, simply by my body, by my mental energy, so to speak, and the pressure that I directed on them. However, I have since found out, come to the conclusion, that not everybody is as bullheaded as I am, not everybody is as determined as I am. And so therefore I now recommend that any time that you're performing the bonder procedure, that you have some sort of extension. We don't call it a whip. You have an extension to where you can reach out without and touch the horse without putting yourself in danger. And the strategic implementation of this device right here will keep that horse out. And you tell that horse, if you come anywhere near me, it's going to be unpleasant. Now then, we talked about how a horse, it's very cut and dried with horses. You are either a leader or a follower. There really is no other position for you to occupy in a herd. You either tell the other horses what to do, or you're told what to do by somebody, by one of the other beings in the herd. What determines a leader? A leader is determined by giving orders, having the orders carried out. That is the essence of herd dynamics. That is what we do in the bonder scenario. That is how we mentally connect with a horse. We give a horse a series of commands that we know we can get that horse to do, until that horse says, whoa, I'm being directed to do these things and I'm doing it, therefore the being who is directing me to do it must be the leader, because I am following his directions. You can't have a leader without a follower. You can't have a follower without a leader. Now then, when a horse comes into the round pen and I'm sitting here, quite often what happens is that when the horse comes in, people say, well, he just went around and around and around and around and around 100 miles an hour, and there was nothing I could do. I couldn't get him to stop. I couldn't do whatever. And so the first thing that we want to do is we want to control that horse from the get-go when it comes into the round pen. He comes into the round pen here, and he travels around here at about 160 miles an hour. He's going around in this continual circle. He just keeps going around and around and around, and you're standing there in the middle with your mouth open. And he's just putting on more and more speed. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, in order to be a leader, you have to tell the horse, stop this. That's your first command. Stop acting like a nut. So how do you do that? When the horse comes around here at 100 miles an hour, you move over here. So that when he comes around here again, he's coming around here, and here you are standing here with your figurative pot of grain. And here he's coming around figuratively to get your pot of grain. And you tell him, no, you're not getting my grain, or stop. And when he comes around here, he sees you there, he has two choices. He either will stop, or he'll continue to come. If he continues to come, you meet that with your extension. You allow him room to get by here in case he's more determined than you are, but you basically tell him that if you and I end up in the same spot together, one of us is going to get hurt, and I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that it isn't going to be me. And 999 times out of 1,000, he will skid to a stop there if you're determined that he's not going to get any close to you. And if you believe that he's going to come through that line, move towards him a little bit. And tell him, look, you get into my space, you and I are going to go. All right? You have told him by this action, stop. That is your first command. You have told him to do that. In other words, you've given him a command, and you have the ability to make him do that, which is here. You've told him to stop and come here. Now then, that's the first command that you've given him. Now then, you need to give him another command, and stack another command behind that you know that he can obey, and that is, go back this way. There you have